Hello, friends. It's Frank here, and once again, the world seems to be on the brink of destruction. We see this with Donald Trump recently being shot at. Did you know that, friends, that there was a guy, a prophet, a prophecy was made by a person or a believer saying this very thing would take place? Do you believe that? What do we make of prophecies that are taking place now? Are we looking at something that is a lead up to the hour of judgment, to the end of this system when Christ returns? What do you think? Well, before we get into that, how should we view prophecies that people make? Well, here's one now. I'm going to put it on this iPad and you can listen to what Brother Vlad says. Here we go.
A shocking prophecy about Trump's assassination attempt, as well as his re-election and financial apocalypse that will happen to America after Trump gets re-elected. Now, you probably have seen this video circulating around the internet, and we're going to take a look at it, as well as we're going to dissect some of those things, and I'm going to share my thoughts on how Christians should respond to political prophecies. So about 4 months ago, Brandon Biggs shares this prophecy and prophetic dream that he had. Let's take a look.
That's whenever I saw Trump, and I saw a red wave coming out of Michigan, and then I saw Oklahoma, and there was embers of people, and they were all on these. They had torches all throughout Oklahoma, and they were raising up these torches that looked like fire, and they were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation, and it was coming. It was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting, and then there will be a great economy crash. Yeah. I saw they had a great economy plan, a crash, worse than the Great Depression. And the Lord warned me about this. It would be a great dark time. But I saw paddles coming upon America's soil, like a shocking of the soil. And I saw Donald Trump praying in the office of the Oval Office, and he was weeping before the Lord with his hands on his head like this, but he was weeping. And there was ministers and people. I don't know if they were senators or Congress people or whatever. I just saw them pacing and back and forth inside of the White House. What is the White House, but it's the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were interceding all inside there, and I could feel the presence of the Lord so strong in this. And then I could see that darkness that was the heaviness upon America with the financial crisis of what I saw coming. It started to lift above the trees, and I saw the blue and the things coming back out, and the green times and the good times coming back again. But the Lord said it would be forth a time of a season of a shaking.
A few things I want to analyze. One of them is it's pretty obvious. This prophecy is very political. There's a lot of prophecies, even during Trump's second attempt to win re-election was, the red wave coming and all of that. But there are things here that are pretty accurate. One of them is, there was an attempt on his life. A bullet flew by his ear. If you remember, there's a video that's circulating about how there were actually 3 bullets that 2 of them missed Donald Trump, and then one of them actually hurt his ear. Now, whether his eardrum is busted, we don't see media reporting that his eardrum is damaged or busted, but we do know that it was affected. Whether Donald Trump encountered God and got radically saved while being on the knees during the time, we don't know. There's no report circulating about his radical conversion. He does credit it to God, that God saved him. And Brandon did say within that time frame, so maybe God will use this opportunity to awaken him and quicken him and draw him near. We only hope and pray for that. The parts about him being reelected, we're still going to have to wait and see. And the parts about economic collapse coming, we're also going to still wait and see. I hope it's not going to come. I pray that it's not going to come, but I also think we also need to be prepared always for the worst, regardless whether this prophecy is true or not, or if there is a prophecy or not. We have to be prepared for the worst times, because Jesus told us tribulations will come, and these tribulations are sure to come. In just a moment, I'm going to share about how we should respond to these prophecies. What is our stance toward that? But I do want to share about Kim Clement. Some of you have seen it. This prophecy was circulating when Donald Trump was running for re-election and was running his first term. It was going all around.
So let's define prophecy. It's defined this way: an inspired message, a revelation of the divine will and purpose. Prophecy may be a prediction of something to come, inspired moral teaching, or an expression of a divine command or judgment. It's interesting that in the book of Corinthians, Paul gives a explanation as a New Covenant believer how one should go about hearing and what to do when someone makes a prophetic statement. When you think about it, I mean, Paul's whole message, and this is true, his whole message is about God's grace. And he breaks that down, what the new covenant looks like: new birth, forgiveness of sins, new spirit, indwelling spirit, Christ in you, Christ working through you, the fruit of the Spirit. Okay, so he gives us a whole breakdown, and the works of the flesh, the system we're in, the spirit of the air, where's that coming from? The law, what was it? Was it a curse or a blessing? It was a curse, according to Paul. So what is prophecy? It's a very important point. So someone comes, he makes a prophetic statement. How do we take that? Just like we've seen in the last few months and what's happened in the past 12 days. Huge. A lot of things are happening. Are these all prophetic statements? Some have made prophetic statements about these events. Well, really, Paul, when he's talking about, I think, prophetic statements, he's talking about Christ. And so the gospel of grace. So if someone makes a comment or such, how does that fit into the gospel of grace? And notice, he says that we are to judge. If you go to 1 Corinthians, I think it is 14, I'll find it and I'll put it up here in a moment. There you go, as you can see. Just give you a moment to read it. Okay, so have a look at the context, but the context reveals that this is really, he's talking about something that relating to the gospel of grace. Now, if someone comes and gives a prophetic announcement or statement or a message or whatever it is, or a works-based, or is it a grace-based message? Is it something that, aligning to the forgiveness of sins, about you as a new creation, or a new creation today, or is it next year or the year after that? Is it progressive, my salvation, or is it once only? Right? When they're conflicting, then we are to judge. As a congregation or as a couple of us, we should sit there and judge that pronouncement without hesitation. We shouldn't just accept somebody's message. And this is what we're getting a lot more. We're seeing a lot more organizations who are claiming to be Christians giving prophetic judgments or prophetic announcements, and people within that realm of organization membership are just going along with their leaders. This is a mistake. This is not how the congregation was asked or encouraged to do. In fact, they were encouraged to judge when a prophetic statement was made. You know, there are many outstanding Bible prophecies yet to be fulfilled. We can see that there will be maybe they have been fulfilled, I don't know. But there's Revelation 17:16, the 10 horns, and the wild beast will hate the harlot. Maybe that's taking place and make her devastated and naked. Daniel 2:44, the kingdom will crush and put an end to these human kingdoms, or these kingdoms, and in itself will stand to times indefinite. Revelation 21:3, and I saw an angel coming down out of heaven with the keys of the abyss and a great chain in his hands, and seized the dragon, the original serpent, who is the devil, Satan, bound for 1,000 years. Or John 5:28-29, do not marvel at this, because the hour is coming in which all these in the memorial tombs will hear his voice and come out. Those who do good things to a resurrection of life, and those who practice vile things to a resurrection of judgment. And then we have this one in 1 Corinthians 15:24-28. Next, the end, when he hands over the kingdom to his Father, that is Christ. He hands over everything back to God and to his God and Father, and we could say our Father. But when all things have been subjected to him, then the Son himself will also subject himself to the one who is subjected to all things to him, that God may be all things to everyone. So we should be keenly interested when people speak. Of course, we are told to keep on the watch, because we don't know the day when the Lord is coming. Peter tells us that we have the prophetic word. Notice the word, made more sure, and you are doing well in paying attention to it, for prophecy was at no time brought by man's will, but men spoke from God as they were borne along by Holy Spirit. All prophecies were pointing to Christ, and believing in him was the big deal. A lot of people missed that because they were caught up in the politics of the day, different ideas about Christ. Isn't that true today? The organization that I was formerly part of see Christ as almost like a passenger these days, right? He's moved from a central position to more of a passenger, although they have a convention theme based on his name. Nevertheless, his position is not above the governing body, as it seems, the leadership, because according to them, the leadership's in control. So what they mean by that is a system is in place, that no matter whose face is in that chair, in the top positions, it's the system that is controlling the information, the instruction, and how to go about their policies, and adjusting, making changes where they have to. Many people have their own ideas as to the culmination of Armageddon or the rapture of the church. Is it pre-tribulation, after, post-tribulation, mid-tribulation? Are we going to go through this? Are we even going to see Christ return? Or is this it? Once we're saved, and we're going to be taken up to heaven. And of course, I do believe Christ is going to return, but how and why and when and all those other little bits, I'm not too sure. Friends, this is all I'm saying is this. When people say prophecy, when people make prophetic statements, we should test them. Doesn't matter who it's from. That's what Paul recommends. John recommends it. We should test every inspired expression. So that means we have a basis to test it against. You see? So if they're saying things that there's no basis to test against, maybe that's the answer to that prophetic statement. It is not from God. But we have the grace gospel to test the words that people are saying, the message that you're hearing, the gospel that you're hearing, and test it back against the words of the apostles as they've written all these letters for us, and say, does that fit in with what they're saying? And if it doesn't, then we can reject that as coming from God or coming from the Lord. So that's my view on prophecy. Take care, guys. Have a great day. Talk again soon.